give some background on this topic, biosolids are organic materials that is recovered from wastewater treatment process. Essentially, we're talking about human waste from bathrooms and kitchens that is later used as fertilizers on our farms. It's a nutrient-rich option. However, it processes the risk of severe health concerns due to contaminations inside them. Biosolids are often contaminated with heavy materials, microplastics, and PFAS, or as we say, PFOs, or foreign chemicals. The prescriptions and everything else, people are flushing down toilets, and I think we talked about this before. We did a thing with Deterra to have people dispose of these prescriptions in a proper way. It exposes to certain PFAS that have been linked to cancer, cell damage, low birth rates, liver and immune system damage, and that list, unfortunately, goes on and on and on. We have seen contaminated farmland, poisoned animals, crops, unsafe drinking water across the country from Maine to Michigan. This is why I'm announcing a full moratorium for the next 90 days to evaluate what is going on with our farms across Albany County. Also directing our Albany County Department of Health to study the issue. There's a number of locations that are applying biosolids here in Albany County. Scotland and Bern, we are aware of. There's other ones we're looking at. We know the State Department of Environmental Conservation is looking at this, and we're waiting to get the complete list from the EPA, from the state DEC, and we're likely getting updated regs on biosolids related to land applications. I want to be very clear. We're not doing this to place a burden on our farmers. We're there to protect our farmers, to protect our most valuable resource, our water. But farmers are being tricked into thinking it's a safe, cost-effective way of alternative fertilization. So at a time when prices are too high, we all know that if you go to the grocery store, farmers are trying to save money to get the product out there. So when they're being told by the salesperson that this is a great way of doing it, cost efficiently, safe, they do it, not knowing the potential impact it's going to have on their crop, on their lands, on their farm animals, and our drinking water. So I'm hopeful that with the help of our state and federal partners, we can create a system where biosolids can be used safely. But right now, we don't know if it's safe.
You know, all of the chemicals that biosolids can hold in them, things like PFAS, the forever chemical, never goes away. Once it's in the ground, once it's in the water, our groundwater, we're in a lot of trouble. And as Dan said, we don't want to get to a situation where Albany County has many brownfields that we are going to have to figure out how to remediate and spend dollars to do that. So this is a really good step to have us work with DEC, figure out how do we manage this. I think communication to the farming community is also really, really important, making sure that folks understand the why of what this moratorium first step is, and then hopefully other steps that we will take after this.
This is a proactive step to ensure that marginalized communities have one of their most precious elements protected as we gather more information on how biosolids can contaminate water sources. Environmental justice isn't discussed like criminal, electoral, or financial justice, but it is directly tied to the well-being of the people of Albany County. Traditionally, environmental justice has not been distributed equally to underrepresented communities. So this is an active step to turn that around, and I'm thrilled that we're being as proactive as we are in our efforts.
When I got further into it and started to research what Cornell University has, and Dr. Murray McBride, I believe his name is, the issue's been there for quite a while, and he's been a proponent of getting more studies done and more understanding of this. And unfortunately, as he would say, the science that's being used to regulate biosolids is old. It's outdated. It hasn't caught up with the testing that's available now. It hasn't caught up with the problems that are caused by not only the PFOAs, heavy metals. Cadmium causes fertility issues. It boosts estrogen, and both wildlife and in livestock. There's a point where you can, yes, test for them and set certain levels that you might want to import and use. But the problem with that is there's a cumulative effect as you apply these over and over again. And someone mentioned earlier that Maine has, I think they've basically outlawed the use because they're actually having brownfields where the sterility of the soil is gone. So these things can cause problems with the soil, cause problems with the water, and they also have an aerosol aspect. So when they're moved around and incorporated in the soil, you can get other problems with neighbors and things like that. So there's just so much more that we have to learn about this and so much more we have to do to better educate ourselves and the agricultural landowners out there.
Each week, we're hearing more and more in terms of data and studies about the impacts of the toxicity of these forever chemicals, these PFAS chemicals. These impacts are on our air, our water, our soil, and we're finding out more and more how they're impacting our farming communities. And it really is a crisis. And the farmers should not have to be bearing the use of these toxic chemicals. This is an issue that a lot of us in the, working at the state level are trying to get out of the waste stream in general, to get out of our products, out of our, things like the firefighting foam, out of our apparel, out of our food waste packaging. Because once it ends up in the waste stream, it's ending up in the drinking water. It's ending up on the land spreading because it's going through that wastewater system.
This moratorium reflects Albany County's commitment to keeping its residents safe and helping to ensure a healthy future. However, it's only a temporary fix to guard our agricultural land from PFAS contamination. So again, it's temporary. We've been working with the EPA, the DEC, many different organizations to figure this out. Thank you, everybody.